Imagine you are standing at a window. Outside is a rusty red desert stretching to the very horizon. There is almost no sky. During the day, it is a dim, dusty dome of peach color, and at night, it is an abyss where stars do not twinkle but burn with a cold, unblinking light. You press your hand against the glass. It is freezing. Behind that glass lies absolute silence. There are no sounds of wind, no singing of birds, no noise of cars, only a silence that presses against your ears. And if that glass cracks even by a millimeter, the air from your room will rush out with such force that your lungs would rupture in a fraction of a second. Welcome home. We are used to thinking of space colonization as science fiction, as beautiful images from movies where heroes walk on alien planets, then hop into a ship and fly back to their families. But the plan currently lying on the tables of SpaceX engineers has nothing to do with tourism. By 2050, they want to build a city there, not a scientific base, not a military outpost, but a fully fledged city, with a population of 1 million people. That is a number difficult to comprehend. 1 million people. That is the population of Austin, Ottawa, or Amsterdam. Imagine taking an entire metropolis, ripping it out of the cozy Earth biosphere, and hurling it across 225 million kilometers of vacuum into a world that seems specifically designed to kill everything alive. Why such a scale? Why exactly 1 million? The answer is frightening in its simplicity. Elon Musk and his team of engineers call it the Great Filter. If a nuclear war, an asteroid impact, or a deadly pandemic happens on Earth tomorrow, humanity will vanish. We have no backup copy. Our entire species, our entire history, music, art, everything is stored on a single hard drive. On Earth, Mars must become that backup copy. But there is a problem rarely discussed in the news: the massive difference between the Moon and Mars. When we flew to the Moon, it was like a trip to a summer cottage. The Moon is close. The signal takes 1.5 seconds. If something breaks, help can arrive in 3 days. The Moon is a dependent colony. It hangs in our orbit like a tethered boat. Mars is different. This is not a summer cottage. This is moving to another continent in the age of sailing ships, only instead of an ocean, there is deadly radiation, and instead of storms, there are solar flares. The flight takes 6 to 8 months. The launch window opens only once every 2 years. This means logistics change fundamentally. You cannot forget your phone charger and ask mom to send it in the next package. The package will arrive in 2 years, or it won't arrive at all. The main goal of the Martian city is total, absolute self-sufficiency. Imagine this scenario. The year 2060. The city on Mars is already standing. Thousands of people live there. And suddenly, silence. Earth stops responding to signals. Supply ships no longer arrive. No one knows what happened. War, collapse, or simply a change in political course, and funding was cut. At that moment, the Martian colony faces a choice. Either they go extinct following Earth, or they continue to live on their own. They must produce everything, from the air they breathe to the microchips in their tablets, from water to antibiotics. If they depend on Earth for even one single detail, they are dead men walking. That is why the task is not just to fly there and plant a flag. The task is to create a second independent branch of human civilization. But before the first human takes that historic step and inhales the dusty air of an alien planet, others will go there. Those who do not need air, those who do not fear the cold, and those who, most likely, will remain there forever, turning into monuments to themselves. To understand why Elon Musk is so obsessed with the idea of sending robots, we first need to take an honest look at where we are flying. SpaceX marketing paints us beautiful pictures: glass domes, green parks, people in stylish tight suits watching the sunset. But the reality of Mars is much closer to horror movies than to science fiction. Let's remove the romance and look at the numbers. Mars is not Earth 2.0. It is a graveyard on a planetary scale. First, the cold. The average surface temperature is minus 63 degrees Celsius. At night, it drops to minus 140. For comparison, the lowest temperature ever recorded on Earth in the very heart of Antarctica is -89. That is, a standard Martian night is colder than the deadliest frost in the history of our planet. If you go outside without heating, your equipment won't just turn off. Lubricants will freeze and turn into glue, metal will become brittle as glass, and carbon dioxide from the atmosphere will begin to fall as dry ice right onto your shoulders. But cold is a solvable problem. We know how to heat things. The real killer is the atmosphere, or more accurately, its absence. The atmosphere of Mars is 100 times thinner than Earth's. It is only 1% of the pressure your body is used to. And this is where the true nightmare begins. In Hollywood movies, when an astronaut's helmet cracks, he usually just suffocates or instantly freezes. In reality, physics has prepared a fate much more terrible for us. There's a concept called the Armstrong limit. This is the altitude at which atmospheric pressure is so low that water boils at human body temperature, 36.6 degrees. On Earth, this limit is at an altitude of 19 kilometers. On Mars, it is the entire surface of the planet. If you find yourself there without a spacesuit, the air won't just leave your lungs. All the moisture in your body will begin to act aggressively. The saliva on your tongue will boil. The tears in your eyes will turn into steam, instantly drying out the corneas. Gases dissolved in your blood will start coming out in bubbles, like in an open bottle of soda. This is called ebullism. You will feel your body inflating from the inside, doubling in volume. Your skin will stretch to the limit, and all this time, you will be conscious. At least for the first 15 seconds, until the brain shuts down from hypoxia. You are simultaneously boiling, suffocating, and freezing. And even if you hide in a pressurized module, the third horseman of the apocalypse awaits you: radiation. Earth has a powerful magnetic field. It is our shield. It deflects solar wind and cosmic rays, saving us from an agonizing death. Mars has no magnetic field. It disappeared billions of years ago when the planet's core cooled. The surface of Mars is constantly bombarded by high-energy particles. Being there, you receive a radiation dose 50 times higher than on Earth. This won't kill you immediately like the vacuum. It is a slow killer. Every cell, every strand of DNA will be under attack. The risk of cancer skyrockets. Cognitive abilities drop. The central nervous system begins to break down. Mars is drier than the driest desert on Earth, the Sahara or Atacama. There is no liquid water, only ice and steam. Dust storms can cover the entire planet and last for months, blocking the sun and depriving you of your only source of energy. It is a world that actively resists life. Sending people there in the first stage is not just a risk. A human is a soft bag of water, bones, and complex biochemistry that needs an ideal balance of temperature and pressure. We are too fragile for this world. Therefore, the first colonists will be those who do not need air, those who have no blood that can boil, and those who feel no pain when radiation burns through their microchips. Imagine this moment, the year 2026. A massive steel cylinder, Starship, tears through the thin atmosphere of Mars. Raptor engines roar, kicking up tons of red dust, and the ship performs its signature landing, falling belly down with a sharp flip at the last second. Silence returns. The dust settles. The hatch opens, but no one comes out. No one walks down the ramp to give a pompous speech about a small step for man. No cameras, no orchestra, no flags. Instead, silhouettes begin to emerge from the cargo hold. Hundreds of humanoid figures. These are Tesla Optimists, the first colonists of Mars. SpaceX's plan is brilliant in its cruelty and pragmatism. They understand. Sending humans into the void is a logistical nightmare. Humans need food, water, toilets, sleep, entertainment, and constant temperature. Robots only need electricity. This changes the entire paradigm of space exploration. We are used to astronaut heroes, but the reality of the Martian city will begin not with heroism, but with the monotonous, heavy labor of machines. The first wave of starships will be unmanned. These will be trucks packed with robots and equipment. The task of this army of ghosts is to set the stage before the actors arrive. They will work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without lunch breaks, without union complaints, in total darkness and radio silence. Imagine this picture, a desolate plain, and hundreds of white androids silently unfolding fields of solar panels. They are clearing landing pads of sharp rocks. They are drilling the soil. They are laying cables. This is where the synergy of Elon Musk's companies manifests. SpaceX provides transport. Tesla provides the workforce. Optimus was originally developed not just as a home assistant, but as a universal worker for factories. On Mars, he will become a miner, a builder, and a loader. If one robot breaks, it is not a tragedy, it is a statistic. Other robots will dismantle it for parts and continue working. No funerals, no obituaries in newspapers, pure efficiency. SpaceX calls this the trial and error strategy. They can afford to lose 10 ships with robots to debug the landing process, but they cannot afford to lose a single ship with humans. By the time the first human steps onto the surface, tentatively in 2029 or 2030, Mars will no longer be dead. Man will not arrive in an empty desert. He will arrive at a base where the lights are already on, where tanks are full of water, where batteries are charged, where the air inside the living modules is already breathable. Robots are the expendable material of progress. They will build the foundation of our second civilization, get covered in a layer of Martian dust, and likely be deactivated when they are replaced by more advanced models. It will be a strange, almost mystical sight. A city building itself, without human participation, but by human will. Millions of kilometers from their creators, machines will execute the program embedded in them, preparing the cradle for biological life. But for this program to work, the robots need the right place. You cannot just poke a finger at a globe of Mars and say, "We land here." The planet is not uniform. Somewhere there are cliffs, somewhere sand, somewhere mountains. For the city to survive, we need to find one specific point, a point where the energy of the sun and the blood of the planet, water, intersect. And it seems SpaceX already knows where this X marks the spot on the map. The surface area of Mars is equal to the land area of Earth. It is a huge world, entire continents, giant volcanoes, canyons that would swallow the Grand Canyon whole and not even notice. Where exactly on this huge map will we plant the first flag? Choosing a location for the city is the most important decision in the entire mission. Make a mistake here, and the entire colony will perish in a month. SpaceX engineers faced a brutal geographic dilemma. On one hand, we need energy. On Mars, this means solar panels. For them to work effectively, we need to be as close to the equator as possible, where the sun shines brightest and longest. On the other hand, we need water. There is water on Mars, a lot of it, but almost all of it is locked in the polar caps. And here is the problem. At the equator, it is warm and sunny, but dry as a kiln. At the poles, there is plenty of water, but it is dark, cold, and there is little sun for panels. How to combine these two needs? Build a pipeline thousands of kilometers long? Impossible. The answer was found with the help of reconnaissance satellites. A compromise exists, and its name is Arcadia Planitia. This is a vast flat plain in the northern hemisphere, roughly at the 40th latitude. Imagine a territory the size of Poland, but absolutely flat. Why here exactly? First, the terrain. Starship is a giant tower as tall as a 16-story building. It needs a perfectly flat landing pad. Arcadia is ancient lava fields that solidified millions of years ago. There are few craters, few rocks here. It is a natural spaceport created by nature. Second, altitude. Arcadia is located in a lowland. This means the column of atmosphere above it is slightly thicker than in other places. For us, this is critically important. The denser the air, the more effectively the ship's brakes work during descent and the better the radiation protection. But the main treasure of Arcadia is hidden from view. NASA and ESA satellites scanning the surface with radar discovered an anomaly. It turned out that under a thin layer of red dust and soil, it is not rocks hiding, it is giant glaciers. This is pure water ice, massive sheets tens of meters thick. And the most amazing thing is, they lie very close to the surface. In some places, it is enough to dig half a meter down with a shovel to hit ice. Here is the reality hook. When the first colonists walk on this dusty, boring plain, beneath their feet will not just be soil. Beneath their feet are oceans frozen in time. Water that flowed here billions of years ago when Mars was blue and warm now waits for us in suspended animation. Arcadia Planitia is the Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold. Enough sun for energy. Enough ice for life. This changes everything. We don't need to drill ultra-deep wells. We don't need to haul complex drilling rigs. Water extraction turns into a simple quarry process. Remove the top layer of soil, and there it is, the blue gold of Mars. Water is the heaviest substance a human needs. Bringing it from Earth is impossible. A liter of water weighs a kilogram. To deliver a ton of water to Mars, millions of dollars of fuel must be burned. It is economic suicide. Therefore, the rule is ironclad. We bring technology, but we take resources on site. If we cannot extract water in Arcadia, the mission ends before it even begins. But water is needed not only for drinking. In Elon Musk's plans, water plays a completely different, much more explosive role. It must become the thing that brings the ships home. We are going to turn this ice into fire. When Starship lands on Mars, it becomes the largest and most expensive paperweight in the universe. Its tanks are empty, it burned all its fuel to bring you here and gently set you on the surface. At this moment, the ship weighs hundreds of tons, but it is useless. To return it to Earth, it must be refueled from scratch. And here comes the tyranny of the rocket equation. We cannot bring fuel for the return trip with us. To deliver 1 ton of fuel to Mars, we would have to burn hundreds of tons of fuel launching from Earth. It is a mathematical dead end. The only way out is to refuel on site. That is precisely why Elon Musk chose methane for his Raptor engines, not kerosene, as in Falcon 9 rockets, and not hydrogen, as in NASA shuttles. He chose methane. Why? Because methane is CH4, carbon and hydrogen, and Mars is literally made of these elements. The process SpaceX plans to launch is called ISRU, in situ resource utilization, or to put it simply, using local resources. This is true industrial alchemy. We take what lies under our feet and floats in the air and turn it into a ticket home. Here is how it works in practice. Step 1. Electrolysis. Robots mine ice from Arcadia, melt it, and pass a powerful electric current through the water. Water breaks down into 2 components, oxygen and hydrogen. We liquefy and store the oxygen. This is the oxidizer for the rocket, and, by a happy coincidence, it is what we breathe. Step 2. The Sabatier reaction. We take the Martian atmosphere. It consists of 95% carbon dioxide, CO2. We pump this gas into a reactor, mix it with the hydrogen obtained from the water, and heat it under pressure. In the presence of a nickel catalyst, magic happens. Atoms rearrange, carbon bonds with hydrogen, forming methane, and oxygen separates again as water, which we cycle back into the system. On paper, this sounds like a high school chemistry lesson, but in reality, it is a factory of cyclopean scales. To refuel 1 Starship for the flight home, we need to produce and cool to cryogenic temperatures 200 tons of fuel and oxidizer. 1,200 tons. This means hectares of solar fields must operate on Mars, powering huge compressors and chemical reactors. This factory must run for years, accumulating fuel drop by drop, while humans sleep or conduct research. This changes the very philosophy of the colony. The fuel plant is the heart of the city. It pumps blood into the veins of the transport system, and it also gives air to the lungs. Fuel production and the life support system are now one and the same. As long as we make methane to leave, we get oxygen to live. If the factory breaks, we don't just get stuck on Mars forever. We suffocate. It is an elegant but deadly engineering solution. Mars itself gives us resources for survival and escape, but only if we can tame its chemistry. However, there is one nuance often overlooked. Chemical reactions do not happen by themselves. The Sabatier reaction requires heat. Electrolysis requires a monstrous amount of current. Compressors for liquefying gas devour megawatts. We have water, we have air, we have factories. But all this is just a pile of dead metal without a giant energy source, and there are no wall outlets there. On Earth, we take electricity for granted. If the lights go out, food in the fridge spoils and we can't watch a TV show. Unpleasant, but not fatal. On Mars, a power outage is a death sentence carried out in a few hours. Life support systems will stop. Air purification will cease. But the scariest part, thermal regulation will stop working. Living modules will instantly freeze to -100 degrees. The city will turn into a freezer full of corpses. Therefore, the energy grid is the planet's most critical infrastructure. SpaceX is betting on solar energy. This is logical. The sun is a free nuclear reactor hanging in the sky. Panels are light, they can be rolled up, stuffed into a Starship, and unrolled on site like a carpet. But here, physics trips us up again. Mars is 1.5 times further from the sun than Earth. The light there is dimmer. A solar panel that generates 300 watts on your roof at home will barely produce 120 on Mars. To provide energy for a city of 1 million people and industrial plants producing methane, we don't just need roofs, we need fields, endless oceans of black silicon stretching beyond the horizon. And this system has one terrible enemy. Not cold, not radiation, dust. Martian dust is not household dust. These are microscopic particles, sharp as razors, possessing an electrostatic charge. They stick to everything, to spacesuits, to camera lenses, and of course, to solar panels. But that's only half the trouble. Every few years, an event occurs on Mars that astronomers call a global dust storm. This is when dust rises into the atmosphere so densely that it hides the entire surface of the planet. During the day, it becomes dark as twilight. Solar generation drops by 90 or even 99%. Exactly such a storm killed the Opportunity rover in 2018. It simply fell asleep because it lacked enough light to warm its batteries and never woke up again. For a city of humans, such sleep is unacceptable. We cannot wait out a month without air and heat. Here, another technology of the Musk empire enters the stage. Tesla Megapack. Huge industrial batteries the size of a shipping container. The city on Mars will be, in essence, a giant battery. On sunny days and during calm hours, we must greedily absorb every photon, charging thousands of such containers. We must store energy not for the night, but for months ahead. This is life in a constant mode of paranoia. You look at the battery charge indicator not to know if you have enough for a game, but to understand if you will live until dawn. In the long run, solar panels won't be enough. Engineers understand this. Sooner or later, we will have to bring nuclear reactors there. Compact modular energy sources that don't care about dust and sun. But that is politics, uranium, and complex international treaties. For the first years, colonists will have to rely only on the dim sun and lithium-ion cells. Imagine this sound. A low, vibrating hum of transformers that must never cease. As long as it sounds, you are alive. Energy gives us the ability to run machines. It brings drilling rigs and 3D printers to life. Now that we have the power to build, the question arises, build from what? There is no room in Starship for bricks or concrete slabs. We must build from what lies under our feet. And, as it turned out, the recipe for ideal Martian concrete includes an ingredient that each of us carries inside. So, we have energy. Endless fields of solar panels hum, charging batteries. Now we can start the great construction. But with what? We cannot bring steel beams and concrete blocks with us. Every kilogram of cargo sent from Earth costs hundreds of thousands of dollars. We must build from what lies beneath our feet, from Martian soil, which scientists call regolith. Regolith is, essentially, very fine, loose dust. If you simply compress it, you get fragile bricks that crumble from the slightest impact. To turn this dust into stone, we need a binding agent, something that glues particles together, like cement and earth concrete. But what? Water? Water on Mars is currency more expensive than gold. It will be recycled and used again and again. Spending millions of liters of precious water to mix concrete is suicide. It is like heating a stove with banknotes in a burning house. Engineers and scientists around the world racked their brains over this problem. And the solution they found is simultaneously brilliant and disgusting. The most effective, cheap, and easily accessible binding agent for Martian concrete turned out to be urea. Urea is an organic compound found in large quantities in human urine. It turned out that when mixed with Martian regolith, it works as a superplasticizer. It breaks hydrogen bonds in the mixture, making it fluid and easy to mold, and upon setting, creates a material that exceeds ordinary Earth concrete in strength. They named it astrocrete. Realize this fact for a second. To build the walls of their home on Mars, the first colonists will have to give a part of themselves, literally. Every trip to the toilet will become a contribution to the common cause. Waste products will cease to be waste. This is a strategic resource. And this is not some insane fantasy. Research published in scientific journals confirms it works. And it works damn well. In fact, there is nothing new in this. Humanity has done similar things. Ancient Romans added animal blood to their concrete. In medieval Europe, ox bile or egg whites were sometimes mixed into mortar. Our ancestors intuitively understood that organics can work miracles within organics. On Mars, we will simply return to these primitive technologies, but on a new, industrial level. Imagine huge 3D printers slowly crawling across the plains of Arcadia. Instead of plastic, they squeeze out layer by layer a thick reddish paste. A paste mixed with dust and the byproducts of the city's life. Everything will be built from this material: walls of living modules, hangars for ships, roads, landing pads. But even astrocrete won't save us from the main threat, radiation. Therefore, most of the city will likely go underground. Another Musk company, the Boring Company, will send its tunnel boring machines there. They will bite into the Martian soil, creating a network of caves and corridors. This is the most logical path. Under a few meters of regolith, you are protected from cosmic rays just as reliably as on Earth. So, the picture emerges. An underground city connected by tunnels. On the surface, only the spaceport, factories, and solar farms built from local brick with added organics. The walls stand. The shelter is ready. It protects from vacuum, cold, and radiation. But it won't protect from hunger. The walls are there, but inside these walls, stomachs are empty. And the most difficult problem of the Martian colony is not even construction. It is food. Many of us have watched the movie The Martian. There is a famous scene where Matt Damon grows potatoes in Martian soil fertilized with his own feces. It looks unpleasant, but hopeful. Life finds a way. Unfortunately, in reality, this scenario would kill the main character in a couple of weeks. The movie missed one tiny invisible detail. Martian soil is not just sterile, it is toxic. The soil of the red planet is saturated with perchlorates. These are salts of perchloric acid. On Earth, we use them as a component of rocket fuel and in pyrotechnics. On Mars, they are everywhere. The concentration of perchlorates in the soil reaches 1%. That sounds like a little, but for the human body, it is a catastrophe. Perchlorates block the thyroid gland. They destroy lung tissue. If you simply inhale Martian dust or eat a potato grown in untreated soil, you will get severe chemical poisoning. Aplastic anemia, organ failure, agonizing death. Therefore, Martian farming will not be a pastoral idyll. It will be high-tech chemical warfare. Before planting a single seed, colonists will have to wash tons of soil, literally wash the poison out with water, and then purify that water. Or use specially bred bacteria that eat perchlorates, turning the poison into safe chloride and oxygen. Only after the soil is detoxified do we face the second problem. There is no life in it. No nitrogen, no organics, no humus. It is dead stone. And here we return to the idea from the movie, which was correct after all. The only source of organics on Mars is us. In a city of 1 million people, there will be no concept of sewage. What we flush down the toilet will become the most valuable fertilizer in the solar system. Every gram of phosphorus, every atom of nitrogen that leaves your body must be collected, sterilized, and returned to the soil. This is called a closed ecological loop. It sounds scientific, but psychologically it will weigh on the mind. You eat a salad, your body processes it, the waste goes to the garden bed. A new salad grows on that bed, you eat it again. The atoms that make up your breakfast were part of your neighbor a month ago, or part of you. In this closed world, there is no place for squeamishness. and no place for gourmandize. Forget about steaks. Cows are inefficient calorie converters. They require too much water and space. The basis of the diet will be algae, like spirulina, genetically modified soy and potatoes, as well as insects. Crickets and fly larvae are the perfect source of protein. They grow fast, eat waste, and take up minimal space. The Martian diet is veganism with added chitin, seasoned with the taste of recycled water. But the scariest thing about this system is its fragility. Agriculture on Mars will be completely artificial. No natural selection, no rain. Imagine one Earth fungus or plant virus enters the greenhouse. In a closed, warm, humid environment, it will spread instantly. The entire harvest could perish in days. On Earth, if a crop failure happens, we buy grain from another country. On Mars, there is no one to buy from. The store is closed and the delivery of the next batch of food will take 2 years. Hunger on Mars is not an empty stomach. It is when you look at a green garden bed, see the leaves starting to turn black and curl, and realize the timer on your life has just been started. Nevertheless, engineers are confident we can create a biosphere, we can clean the poison, we can grow food. Technically, it is possible. But building one greenhouse is one thing. Feeding a city the size of Boston is a task of a completely different order. And here, we approach the most insane aspect of Elon Musk's plan. Logistics, the scale of which makes your head spin. Let's go back to the number we started with, 1 million people. Easy to say. But let's try to imagine what that means in terms of logistics. Today, a maximum of 7 to 10 people live on the International Space Station. In the entire history of spaceflight, over 60 years, fewer than 700 people have been to space. Elon Musk wants to increase this number 1,500 times in a couple of decades. The main problem here is not rockets. The main problem is celestial mechanics. Earth and Mars are not two cities connected by a highway. They are two planets orbiting the sun at different speeds. The window for an ideal flight, when the planets approach each other, opens only once every 26 months, once every 2 years. This creates a unique rhythm of Martian migration. We cannot send ships every day one by one. We must stockpile them. For years, gather a flotilla in low Earth orbit, refuel them, check systems, and when the window opens, the heavens will split apart. SpaceX's plan envisages building 1,000 Starships. When the moment of planetary alignment comes, this armada must launch almost simultaneously. Imagine the sky streaked with hundreds of fiery tails. It will be like a military operation, D-Day, only in space. A steel river flowing from Earth to Mars, 3 launches a day, every day, for a month. In each ship, 100 people, plus tons of equipment. But behind this grandeur lies grim statistics. And this is the part of the plan Elon Musk speaks of very reluctantly, but which every passenger must understand. The mathematics of death is relentless. Let's be optimists. Let's assume Starship becomes the most reliable ship in history. Let's assume its reliability is 99%. In modern astronautics, that is an incredible success. Soyuz and Falcons are close to this, but if you launch 1,000 ships and reliability is 99%, that means 10 ships won't make it. They will explode at launch, or burn up upon entry into the atmosphere, or crash against Martian rocks upon landing. 10 ships of 100 people. That is 1,000 dead in 1 month. We are used to the shuttle disaster being a national tragedy remembered for decades. In the era of Mars colonization, such news will become routine. The fleet arrived. Losses were 2%. Acceptable damage. People who buy a ticket for this flight must accept this fact back on Earth. They are signing not just a contract, they are signing a will. By the way, about the ticket, how much will it cost? Musk's goal is to lower the price to the cost of a house in a developed country, approximately $200,000 to $300,000. Why such a peg? The logic is cynical and simple. To leave, you will have to sell everything: your apartment, car, furniture. You liquidate your assets on Earth to buy a life on Mars. This is not tourism. A tourist buys a round-trip ticket. A colonist burns bridges. He has no backup airfield left on Earth. He has nowhere to return to. This creates powerful economic motivation. 1 million people who have nothing to lose but their new life. They will work 14 hours a day, not for a paycheck, but so that the life support system does not shut down. Inside these ships, flying through the void for 3 to 5 months, there will be no luxury. Forget spacious cabins from sci-fi movies. It will be like transporting soldiers in the hold of a transport ship or a sleeper car you cannot leave. Tight quarters, smells, the noise of ventilation, and the constant realization that a few millimeters of steel separate you from the vacuum. But those who make it, those who survive Russian roulette at landing, they will become founders of something new. Gradually, flight after flight, window after window, the population will grow. 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000. And one day, a moment will come that future historians will call the most important event in human history since fish walked onto land. The moment the umbilical cord is cut. When exactly does a colony become a civilization? Not when the first human steps onto the surface, and not when the first child is born. Mars's true birthday will arrive the moment the last ship from Earth ceases to be a necessity. Elon Musk calls this technological sustainability. I call it the point of no return. Let's conduct a thought experiment. Imagine it's the year 2060. The city is thriving. The population has crossed 500,000. Factories hum, farms work, and suddenly, silence. Communication channels with Earth are cut. Satellites are silent. Telescopes show the night side of Earth has stopped glowing with city lights, or perhaps nuclear mushroom clouds have bloomed there. Or simply an economic crisis forced governments to shut down the space program and they decided to forget about you like an overly expensive toy. If this happens at an early stage, the colony dies. Like a child abandoned in the woods. But if we cross the threshold of 1,000,000 people, if we have a full industrial base, then in response to the silence from Earth, Mars will simply shrug and continue living. It will be the scariest and greatest moment in our history. The moment humanity splits into 2 species. From a legal standpoint, this is a nightmare. Currently, the Outer Space Treaty of 1967 is in effect. It states that no country can own a celestial body. Mars, by Earth laws, is common territory, like Antarctica. But laws only work where there is police capable of enforcing them. Who will fly to find the Martian city for border violations? Who will force them to pay taxes to Washington, Beijing, or Brussels? No one. Elon Musk has already laid this time bomb. In the Starlink user agreement, there is an inconspicuous clause. It says that on Earth and the Moon, Earth laws apply. But on Mars, I quote, parties recognize Mars as a free planet and do not comply with any Earth government. It is already written, we just didn't pay attention. The moment Mars becomes self-sufficient, it will inevitably declare independence. Not because of rebellion or war, but simply because of physics. When a signal takes 20 minutes one way, you cannot manage a city from an office in Washington. You cannot wait 40 minutes for an answer to the question, can we open the airlock? Decisions must be made here and now. Power will belong to those who hold their hand on the airlock switch, to those who control the water. Martian society will be harsh. Democracy as we know it is unlikely to survive there. In conditions where one mistake kills everyone, there is no room for long parliamentary debates. Most likely, it will be a technocratic military hierarchy, or corporate feudalism. But the deepest change will happen not in laws, it will happen in minds. The first generation of colonists will remember Earth. They will remember the sound of rain, the smell of the ocean, the taste of a real apple. They will look at the pale blue dot in the sky with longing. But their children? For the first generation born on Mars, Earth will be just a myth, a fairy tale parents tell before bed. They have never seen an open sky. They have never felt wind on their skin without a spacesuit. For them, normal is living in tunnels, drinking recycled water, and knowing that outside is death. Earth for them will become what ancient Greece or Rome is for us, an ancestral homeland, the place where ancestors came from. But not home. Their home is here, among red dust and rusty rocks, and they themselves will begin to change to match this home, not only culturally, but physically. Gravity is an invisible sculptor. It shapes our bones, our muscles, and our heart from the moment of conception. On Earth, we live under pressure of 1 G unit. On Mars, gravity is only 38% of Earth's. This changes everything. Children born on Mars will be different, not because we edit their genes in a lab, but because the planet itself will change them. Their bones will become longer and thinner. Their hearts won't need to be as powerful to pump blood up to the head. They will be taller than us, slender, and perhaps more graceful. But this gift has a price. A Martian born in low gravity will likely never be able to visit Earth. For him, our planet will be a world of crushing weight. Imagine you suddenly weighed 3 times more. Every step is torture. Your heart fails. Your bones crack under your own weight. For a true Martian, a trip to Earth is not a tourist visit. It is a descent into hell. This is where the final line is drawn. We are not just building a colony. We are launching the process of speciation. After 100–200 years of isolation, under the influence of different gravity and cosmic radiation, they will cease to be Homo sapiens in the usual sense. They will become Homo Martis. They will have their own culture, their own language, full of words to describe hundreds of shades of red and sand quality. Their own holidays, tied not to the Earth year, but to the 687-day Martian cycle. Their own mythology, where Elon Musk and the first Starship engineers will be something like Prometheus or Gilgamesh, semi-mythical ancestors who came from the heavens. They will look at photos of blue skies, green grass, and oceans, the same way we look at reconstructions of the Garden of Eden. Beautiful, unreal, but not home. Their home is the domes of Arcadia. Their horizon is Mount Olympus piercing the stratosphere. This scares many. The thought that our descendants will become strangers to us causes instinctive rejection. But this is the meaning of life. 400 million years ago, one brave fish crawled out of the ocean onto land. It was suffocating. It was in pain. Gravity pressed on it harder than in water. But it stayed. If that fish could see us now, people building cities, writing symphonies, and launching rockets, it would not recognize us as its descendants. We are aliens to it, but we exist only thanks to its courage. The colonization of Mars is the exact same moment. It is the moment when humanity crawls out of its cozy cradle onto the cold, hostile shore of the universe. It will hurt. We will lose many. It will cost trillions of dollars and millions of man-hours. But one day, 1,000 years from now, someone will stand at the observation window of a Martian city. He will look into the night sky and see a bright blue star there. Earth. He will press his hand against the cold glass and think about those strange, soft creatures who once lived on that blue dot, about those who risked everything to carry the fire of reason across the black abyss. He won't look like us, but he will be alive. And, most importantly, the light of consciousness in the universe will not go out.